Hello, welcome to Invictus Motors. We've got Ferrari California here. This is the 2012 Ferrari California 30. 30 means 30 kilograms lighter, 30 bhp more. This is a completely revised, modernized, and in some ways a redefined Ferrari California 30 in relation to the first generation that was introduced in 2008. Some of the key changes, subtle changes, what do you get from a chassis performance, from the roof closing mechanism, and overall why perhaps one should consider buying a Ferrari California and what essentially you get for the money. So let's get right into the video and start to cover some of these key differences. This is truly a dream come true. Being able to drive one of these, review this, and as a matter of fact, you know, just have the opportunity to sit inside it. Before we can get into the key mechanical performance differences, don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and in advance, thanks for watching this video, because whatever money we actually make out of your YouTube channels and from the people, the good folks that are watching our content, we actually get paid by YouTube. That all gets donated to a UK registered charity. I'm from Afghanistan, so essentially we do through the charity some pretty good work educationally and development wise. So, you know, thank you for supporting us. The Ferrari California is easily confused with the more expensive Ferraris such as the Ferrari 599 or the Ferrari 488. We just had somebody just drive past by a minute ago and said, is this a 599? I said, no, it's a California. Let's get into what's underneath the bonnet here. This California, introduced in 2012, the California 30 F1 DCT. What is it all about? Essentially, the 30 means it's 30 kilograms lighter from a chassis point of view. And also you've got 30 bhp more. So the previous generation introduced in 2008 produced 460 bhp. This produces circa 490, so very close to 500 bhp. The torque also increases slightly. The acceleration is increased by approximately 20% over its predecessor. So over its first generation, you get a much better direct fuel injection here in this. So that pressure increases from approximately 160 bars to 200 bars. So essentially, you get better economy, better performance, better torque. The 0 to 60 is at about 4.1 seconds. And at the same time, it completely changes your experience of how the newer, later Ferrari drives, handles, and at the same time it is a more reliable California because of the mechanical changes. Also the gearbox, the DCT gearbox, this is essentially two gearboxes working together as a one gearbox. Essentially that's what you've got, and that completely eliminates that lag that you have from a gear change in terms of your wheel speed and torque. So that gap is completely eliminated. Additionally, what's the sort of setup like on this? You could see that the engine is so far you know, towards the dash here. Therefore, in terms of the balance you get on the Ferrari California is 53% and 47%. That completely dwarfs the figures of what you get in the Porsche 911 and the Porsche Cayman. I don't want to be embarrassing them because as a specialist, they're also phenomenal cars. But the California completely transforms both the driver focused and the drivability over what you get into the Porsche. But at the same time, you know, Porsches do and are designed from a driver focus point of view, but this has the numbers to back the California 30 over a 911 or a Cayman. Also the roof, let's talk about the roof, because the roof is now also being redesigned, essentially re-engineered, and the previous roof mechanism worked sequentially, so there were a lot of components working one after another. Whereas with the later California 30, many of the components work together. Also, you get a lot more boot space at the back. Well, I wouldn't say a lot more, but you do get, you know, more boot space, and it folds up to be a lot more compact. The roof also closes quicker than the previous California, and it's not just another California. This is a lot newer. It's had a lot less time spent on the UK roads, and at the same time the chassis has been redesigned aesthetically. You get the little changes such as the carbon fiber that you find here, and it is very similar lines, and essentially it's a same design California, but it feels different, it looks different, it drives very differently. And from a spec point of view, this is finished in an absolutely gorgeous color scheme. This is in the Ferrari Rosso Red, complemented with the 20-inch diamond cut alloys, and you've got the tires, which are the sports N-rated tires, which are also less than 2 years old, so in absolutely pristine condition. It's got a full Ferrari service history. If you're thinking what we've got here for the brakes, it's got the Brembo ceramic brakes, so super sharp and don't require any time for the brakes to actually, heat up to work efficiently, whereas the ceramic brakes are absolutely instant. Let's actually just get behind the wheel and drive the car and tell you a little bit more about it, what it's like from a driving point of view, and perhaps whether you should consider buying it and how it's like holding its value. And when we come back, we'll do a bit of a review of what it's like on the interior. Sitting in the inside of the California, it is extremely thrilling, finding the very analog and tactile button, which is here to say comfort, sport and ESC off. You turn the key in and you've got this beautiful red button which says engine start, and it's a beautiful feeling. Let's put it in reverse, and you've got the rear view camera as well, which makes it extremely easy to view what's behind you, and press the right paddle shift to put it in first gear. And essentially with first gear I didn't even feel the change to the second gear, so very precise and so fluid. And this is thanks to the F1 DCT gearbox, really. Now we're driving it with the roof on, and that was to actually illustrate two things. Number one, what it is like with the roof on, aesthetically, how it looks. And secondly, what sort of a sound you get on the inside of the car. And I must say, you're still very close to getting the amazing sound from the awesome V8 as well as from the exhaust. So you're sandwiched in between an exhaust that sounds amazing at the rear and an engine that sounds amazing at the front. And now this is us being in comfort mode, so the suspension and everything is just in a comfort setting. So is the response from the accelerator, from the steering wheel. Let's actually turn this into sports and put our foot down. The gear changes, the sound, both from your engine and from the exhaust, is thrilling. And knowing that I'm cocooned and sheltered under this hardtop in the California is a very nice feeling. Sports mode, it holds the gears that bit longer, but at the same time, to really get a bit of a grunt out of the exhaust system, you've got to put your foot down, so it's not overbearing. But even with the slightest of touches of the accelerator pedal, it reminds you're in a Ferrari. And that's the beautiful thing about it. You also have an absolutely phenomenal turning circle. And everything on the inside is so well spec'd, from the beautiful beige seats, which have got the red diamond stitching and the Ferrari logo on the headrest in red. And there's so much of the inside trim, and the buttons and the vents, they all remind you that you're in something special, Ferrari. I mean, such as, having the vents here on the inside that blows the air conditioning at you. In the middle, you've got the Ferrari logos. You've got Ferrari here just on top of the entertainment screen, on your steering wheel, on your headrest, and everything exudes quality and just premium design essentially. Also, this is done, at the moment, is done 23,962 miles. But it doesn't feel like it at all. It feels like this is just rolled off the production line. And now onto the braking. Thank God for having the Brembo ceramic brakes, because this 4.3 litre V8 engine, with the kind of performance it offers you, you do need good brakes. And the ceramic brakes are phenomenal, both in the dry and in the wet, and they don't require any long period of time to get warmed up when you do want to push your car around beautiful countryside roads or perhaps on the motorway. Now what we are going to do next is to actually close the roof, to actually open the roof, and perhaps tell you a little bit about what it's like with the roof opened and at the same time with the interior spec. So let's get that roof opened. One thing I have forgotten is to actually have this little section in the rear boot which needs to be closed for the roof to work. So let me actually close that. This essentially is what I'm referring to. It just needs to come down so the roof mechanism can fold all neatly at the back of this. So having had the earlier, well, the first generation, this is what I call it, the first generation California, where the roof took a very long time to actually open up, to fold back into the rear boot space and to actually close up. Whereas watching this was like watching Transformers and one of the robots like Bumblebee sort of, you know, getting into the role that he normally gets into as a transformer. And on the inside, this has got this very beautiful beige leather interior. It's not overbearing, and you've got the red diamond stitching running through places like the headrest, the red Ferrari logo there in the middle, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And the carpets are in red, and you've got the front dash is finished in black, and you've got the red stitching running through it. If I was the first owner of this vehicle and I was ordering it directly from a main dealer, Ferrari, this is exactly how I would be speccing this. So let's just get into this one more time, and this time we drive it with the roof open. And I love the fact you've got the launch control reverse, the auto transmission button there. I mean, this is all very modern, but at the same time very Ferrari-like. And on this run, what we are going to be doing is using the pedal shifts, which are finished in carbon fiber. I mean, there is a lot of carbon fiber in this California, so somebody's definitely gone out. Now, with the roof down, let me tell you something. This is absolutely jaw-dropping. I mean, the sound from the V8, the sound from the exhaust system, and we're still in the auto gearbox setup, is mesmerizing. With the roof on, obviously, with the added sound insulation that you get in the roof and the padding you get, unfortunately, you don't get the gist of truly what a phenomenal sound that is produced by the V8 through the phenomenal exhaust system. And that balance that you get from the California, knowing that it's got that 53-47, you know, handling to its ride is very reassuring. Let's drop it to 4th. And the gearbox is so smart, you know, as soon as I've had my foot off the accelerator, it automatically realizes that the car wants to go back into the auto transmission. But, you know, we're in a Ferrari, let's drop it to first gear. Second. It's mesmerizing. This is truly a dream come true, being able to drive one of these, review this, and as a matter of fact, you know, just have the opportunity to sit inside it. I want to completely put it into manual, so we press the auto button. That was to 4,500 RPM, 3,000 RPM, and I love how you've got this little digital screen here on the carbon steering, which lights up when you're in a certain RPM range. Again, just a really nice touch. And the carbon fiber combined with leather steering works phenomenally well. And you've also got the benefit of cruise control. You've got the newer upgraded navigation and entertainment screen here, which is touch screen. Let's put it back into auto. This has been a thrilling ride, and thank you for joining me so far on this ride. This brings us to the end of our test drive, and what we are going to do next is talk to you a little bit about the paperwork on this, the service history, the owner's history, and just to describe a bit of the condition of this California and, you know, what sort of a condition it is in from a paperwork point of view. I mean, so far it's been absolutely thrilling. Let's put it back into comfort. One of the very key important things about something like this, because they've retained their values extremely well, but you've got to have essentially good service history. And this is exactly that good and excellent service history that I'm talking about. Essentially, you're talking about every single service up until the most recent service. They've all been done at a Ferrari main dealer. Up until 2020, they were all done at a Ferrari main dealer in Leeds, and the last was done at a Ferrari main dealer in Birmingham. And the last service, as a matter of fact, was done on the 24th of September 2021. So it's all stamped up, and all of the servicing has been done according to what Ferrari has recommended. The ceramic Brembo brakes are all in absolutely pristine condition. The tires are almost like new. Some are, I mean, the tires are approximately less than 2 years old. And now, in terms of the owner's history, the current lady owner, she's actually had it from October 2022, Mrs. Tracy, and prior to her, the vehicle had 4 owners. And in terms of the MOT, the last MOT was done on the 15th of August 2022, so it's not due an MOT until 14th August 2023. So I do want to thank you for tagging along as far as you have for us to review the Ferrari California, and hopefully I've enthused some ideas and why you should perhaps consider getting the Ferrari 30. I know from a price point of view that the difference isn't really vast, whether you spend 74, 75 or actually 70 or actually 80,000 pounds on the Ferrari 30, but I would highly encourage you to go ahead and buy the 30 rather than the first generation, because of all the mechanical, the chassis changes, the roof is no longer sequential, it works together, and all the components folds in simultaneously. There should also be less maintenance required on something like this, because it's a lot newer in relation to something that is 2008 or 2010. And all in all, the driving, the handling, the sound and the performance is absolutely remarkable. They might seem like small little tweaks and changes, but in no way, form or shape they are small changes. I want to thank you once again for watching the video. Don't forget to press that subscribe button, gives us a thumbs up. And once again, thanks for watching this whole video, because your time meant YouTube pays us, and the money gets donated to a UK registered charity. And there's a clip of the recent school that we're building in a village in Afghanistan. Education is so important, and something that I've valued throughout my lifetime, and being able to give that as that opportunity to somebody else to perhaps be the next big contributor in the world that we live in is absolutely critical. I mean, these are an absolutely dream of a car, but essentially for 1/1000th of the value of this, you could actually do a lot in terms of putting a kid through a good education, and that's what we are all about. And good works keep everybody happy, keeps our soul positive and happy, and I mean, what can I say? Thank you. Bye bye.